Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the annual State of the Region event here at the magnificent Scotia Bank Convention Centre. As we have a full agenda, may I welcome to the stage Chuck McShane, EO of the Niagara Home Builders Association, a network of professionals who work together to serve and promote the residential building industry. Organized in 1955, members include new home builders, developers, renovators, suppliers, and professionals. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Chuck McShane.
Thanks very much, Mishka. They only gave me 3 lines to speak, but I'm going to go past these 3 lines. First and foremost, as the executive officer of the Niagara Home Builders Association, I want to thank Mishka and her team for putting this together year in and year out. It brings all the leaders in Niagara together for one common goal, and that's Niagara. And I also want to thank Mishka and her team. She's put together all the associations to come up with what we feel Niagara needs on behalf of all our memberships. So we're working hard on that, and kudos, like I say, once again to the GNCC team for being the leaders. You know, it's a great honor for me to be the executive officer of the Niagara Home Builders Association. We have 130 members. We put back $700 million back into the economy year in, year out, and it's all because of support from all the other business people here, as well as the wonderful people that live in Niagara. You know, just one thing here in Niagara that you just seen. We have one of the greatest high school bands in Ontario, if not Canada. So it's my pleasure to welcome the Holy Cross Secondary School Band to come up and do O Canada. And I'd like to ask everybody to stand up. Now, could I have everybody raise their glasses? How about a toast to Canada, Ontario, and the Niagara region? So here we go, folks. Good.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all our sons' commands. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was the amazing Hunter Stahl. And I think when we come together for days like we do today, I think the Holy Cross Band, the students remind us of why we actually have come together. We would like to begin this gathering by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee people. We recognize and deeply appreciate their historic connection to this place. We also recognize the contributions of Métis, Inuit, and other indigenous people, both in shaping and strengthening this region in particular, and our province and our country as a whole. My name is Mishka Balsam, and I'm the CEO of the Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce. The State of the Region is a collaborative effort, as Chuck had mentioned, of a number of business organizations, and we are pleased this afternoon that we are being joined by their boards, their board leaders, and staff executives from across the region. Please join me in recognizing the following partner organizations: the Niagara Industrial Association, the Niagara Association of Realtors, the Niagara Home Builders Association, the Niagara Construction Associations, and the Chambers of Commerce for Grimsby and District, Lincoln, and Niagara-on-the-Lake. Thank you for your ongoing commitment to Niagara's prosperity. We also would like to extend our thanks to the organizations and businesses who made today possible. We are better with you by our sides. Grant Thornton LLP, Penn Financial Credit Union, Niagara Workforce Planning Board, Electra, Henley Honda and Subaru Niagara, Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority, Scotiabank Convention Center, Walker Environmental, Bell, UTV, Soundbox of Niagara, Janice and Robin Digital Communications, Lancaster Brooks and Welch, Advanced Office Solutions, Spark Niagara, and Lookout Point Country Club. We couldn't do it without you. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge the elected officials who have joined us today, individuals who work tirelessly in making Niagara a better place to live and to do business. Please hold your applause until the end. The list is a bit long. MP Chris Biddle, MPP Wayne Gates. Regional Councillors Marvin Junkin, Frank Campion, George Dodd, Betty Dicero, Bill Steele, Kevin Gibson, Diana Houston, Walter Senzig, Wayne Furtish, Albert Witteveen, Barbara Greenwood, Brian Haidt, Wayne Redekop, Gary Zalepa, Terry Ugolini, Sandra Easton, Robert Foster, Laura Ipp, Tim Rigby, and Tom Encina, along with city councillors from across Niagara. And I'm glad to say that the chair of the Regional Municipality of Niagara, Mr. Jim Bradley, is in the home as well. And it is also a pleasure to acknowledge Dr. Dan Patterson with Niagara College, Dr. Gervin Ferran with Brock University, and the Niagara Regional Police Chief, Brian McCulloch, who have joined us here today. To all of you, we are grateful for all that you do for Niagara. And at this time, may I ask Ken Jensen, CEO of Penn Financial Credit Union, to the stage. With over 30 years of experience within the credit union system, Ken is an accomplished leader and possesses a great mix of inspiration, operational experience, along with being a strong collaborator. Penn Financial's truly local commitment is the heart and soul of Penn Financial's philosophy, where they believe the prosperity of their members and our community go hand in hand. And we couldn't agree more.
Actually, good afternoon. On behalf of Penn Financial Credit Union, it's our sincere pleasure and my colleagues that are with me today to welcome you to the State of the Region address. And we're honored to be able to continue to support this event, which is an important dialogue about how the region is moving forward and the plans in the coming year. And I know we all look forward to hearing Chair Bradley's address this afternoon. I'd also like to thank not only the GNCC, but the other chambers that have collaborated and also the business groups that have come together. I think it's a great example of what we can do when we all cooperate. I think the fine thing of this is not about an individual city today, but it's us as a collective group. The GNCC and the other chambers provide a strong service in performing these tasks and supporting dialogues like we're going to have today. As Mishka mentioned, Penn Financial has a truly local commitment which supports our values-based banking philosophy, where we also believe that the betterment and the prosperity of our members and the communities they live in, and that prosperity is linked. And instead of me going on and on, I've got a video that I would like to show you, and it shows you about our vision of values-based banking and how we believe our members, their prosperity, and the communities we serve go hand in hand. So let's take a look at the video.
Imagine a Niagara that is thriving. A Niagara where every employee earns a living wage, not a minimum wage. A Niagara where companies choose to work alongside local, like-minded talent. Eating local, buying local, hiring local, partnering local, banking local, supporting each other. Where the place you keep your money cares about where you live. At Penn Financial, we believe in Niagara so much that we are committed to putting our money where our mouth is. Sure, we offer banking and financial solutions, but we also believe that the prosperity of our members and our community go hand in hand. We weave socially responsible ideas into the services we offer, strengthening the fabric of our community, like our community ATM, where every withdrawal equals a donation to a local organization. Our truly local commitment is to reinvest 10% of our pre-tax profits back into Niagara, addressing challenges like mental health, poverty, and homelessness. We offer free space, like our beautiful community room, where local organizations can collaborate, cooperate, and create. And that's because when it comes to relationships, it's never just about the money. It's about pursuing long-term philanthropic relationships with like-minded people to bring positive change in Niagara. We are genuinely interested in grassroots efforts that change lives and bring a sense of pride back into our community. We look for opportunities to share our knowledge, to volunteer, to provide sponsorship, like our annual Skates for Kids program, which gives kids all across Niagara the chance to hit the ice. We work with organizations to tackle barriers to success through initiatives like our financial literacy classes. It's not about us, it's about you, about your families and your neighborhoods. At Penn Financial, a living wage is our minimum wage. This is one of the ways we are helping to alleviate poverty in Niagara, and we encourage all of Niagara to join us. It takes courage to be different, and we are doing everything we can to transform the way that banking is done. Our truly local, values-based credit union welcomes everyone who believes that together we get what we give. That's how Niagara thrives. Thanks. Thanks, Jim. We have more people coming, I think.
All right.
Okay.
So, thank you. I can tell you it's exciting to be part of an organization, leading an organization that not only supports the region, but has a vision that's creating that type of good in the community. It's now my pleasure and privilege to introduce the regional chair. And at first, I'm going to kind of paraphrase Chuck McShane. I'm given some notes, and I say, well, this is kind of a wasted exercise when you mention the name Jim Bradley. And I think it's the highest compliment you can give someone, that their name and their brand is synonymous with community service and well-being of the region of Niagara. So I'm going to read it anyways. Jim Bradley was elected as Niagara Regional Chair on December 6, 2018. Previously, Chair Bradley served as a St. Catharines City Councillor from 1970 to 1977 and a member of Provincial Parliament for St. Catharines from 1977 to 2018. During this time, he held roles as a Provincial Minister of the Environment, of Transportation, of Municipal Affairs and Housing, of Tourism and Recreation, of Community Safety and Correctional Services, and the Ministry of Seniors. Before entering politics, Chair Bradley was a teacher with the Lincoln County Board of Education. He has contributed to the Niagara community as a hockey and baseball coach, manager and referee, member of the Grantham Optimist Club, and as an active supporter of the Rank and Run, Jillian's Place, Start Me Up Niagara, Community Care, Bethlehem Place, and many other volunteer organizations. Please help me and welcome the Regional Chair, Jim Bradley.
What is it about teamwork that is so inspiring? Is it that a team can be greater than the sum of its parts? That together, a team can rise above individual limitations? Are we inspired by the strength each member brings to the group? Or is it because the group is only as strong as each individual? Perhaps we are inspired by the mutual trust that must exist in order to make any team truly effective. We believe it's more than all of that. In Niagara, we believe it's all of these things and more. In Niagara, we believe that our ability to unite under one vision, one shared sense of purpose, is what makes our team so inspiring. The definition of a team isn't restricted just to sports, your co-workers, or your family. In Niagara, our team spans across 12 municipalities, and we are thousands strong. We're all part of a team that can accomplish anything while facing the tough challenges head-on. And while the future is as bright as it has ever been, it is vital that we work together to ensure no one is left behind. Communities across the region are growing, and we must ensure we are ready and able to accommodate this demand, but without compromising what makes Niagara so special. We all need to work together so that everyone finds a place they can call home. As we grow, we need to courageously make the investments needed in our roads, in our water, and in our people. Getting from A to B has never been more important for Niagara. We need to make sure we prioritize transit as a necessity that will improve the lives of everyone. We all need to work together to build a local economy that takes advantage of every opportunity and ensure there is a good job for everyone who wants one. We've set pretty high goals for Niagara, and we want to face that challenge together. So if you're ready, join us. Be part of the team that proves that Niagara has no limits.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You may have noticed that I have adjacent to me a container of hall centers in this case, and at least one glass of water. I know others will come forward if it's needed. It is a hazard of this time of year, but one which I think all of us are trying to overcome and are doing so successfully. I'd like to welcome everyone to the 2019 State of the Region Luncheon. I'm looking forward to sharing some insights into Council's top priorities now and for the rest of the four-year term. Before going any further, however, how about another round of applause for our entertainment this afternoon? Wonderful representation of young people. I would like to thank Ken Jansen for the kind and mercifully brief introduction, as well as Mishka and the entire Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce and their membership for supporting today's event. I would also like to take a minute, though this has been done, and in this case you have heard all of the names, but to recognize all of the elected members, regardless of what office they hold, who are here with us in attendance today. I ask these elected officials to stand now collectively and be recognized. It is because of their teamwork in conjunction with the spectacular efforts of everyone in this room that Niagara continues to be successful. It is this topic of teamwork where we'll be spending most of our time today. Of the region's most recent success, it is clear that working as a team and pursuing a shared vision is what has allowed us to move past our limitations, become something bigger than ourselves. Niagara, and I use a common phrase here, is more than the sum of its parts. And it's because of our spirit of cooperation and teamwork that we will always find a way to move beyond our limits. The team I'm talking about is not just the elected officials that meet in their chambers every month or every week. The team I'm referring to includes thousands of hardworking and dedicated individuals working for the Niagara region, the local municipalities, Niagara Regional Police Service, our dedicated fire and emergency services personnel, Niagara Regional Housing, the NPCA, and the Niagara Parks Commission. This team also includes the devoted and talented folks of our not-for-profit sector and social services who provide valuable programs to thousands of Niagara residents each and every single day. Our colleagues at the school boards, Brock University and Niagara College, are also a significant part of this team. These organizations provide the education and training necessary to build the workforce of tomorrow. Our team also includes thousands of talented individuals who serve the Niagara region through Niagara Health, our hospitals, and urgent care sites. These individuals work tirelessly to provide the health care services needed for all of our residents, including the most vulnerable. Finally, the last part of our team is actually made up of many of the people in this room. Niagara's business community will always be the backbone of our region, providing the jobs and economic opportunities needed to keep the region both strong and vibrant. So many different sectors are represented here today, and it is encouraging to see the connections that are being made while we break bread together. We need to be clear today. Ensuring Niagara's success is not the role and responsibility of any one group or person in this room. It takes all of us working together, cooperating, sharing information, and supporting one another as a team in order to guarantee that we have no limitations. It is important to look back at some of the major successes of the past that have set us up for success going forward. The announcement of commuter GO Rail service to the region was not only a game changer for the local economy, but it also proved what is possible when all of Niagara is working together with a singular focus. That achievement required the support of every municipality, the college and university, Niagara Health, our nonprofit sector, and the entire business community coming together to present one unified voice to the decision makers at Queen's Park. As an MPP at the time, I can tell you your passion and coordination did not go unnoticed. Another major accomplishment was the direct result of the entire region pulling together, and that was securing the 2021 Canada Summer Games. Niagara will be playing host to the entire nation as we cheer on some of the best athletes that Canada has to offer. This announcement brings with it both significant infrastructure investments and economic benefits in the form of tourism and commerce. These are just two examples of what is possible when we all pull together and unify under one shared vision. These two announcements are a testament to the power of our teamwork and what we were able to get accomplished together when no single one of us could have done so individually. As we all know, the provincial government has initiated a governance review of Ontario's 8 regional governments. The review is broad and is taking a hard look at the regional decision-making process, the composition of various councils, the effectiveness of representation, various opportunities for efficiencies, cost savings, and any reduced duplication. While it's impossible to know what change this review will bring for Niagara, I can tell you that the municipal services that are offered in Niagara are excellent. The roads we drive on, for the most part, the water systems we rely on, and the excellent parks and recreation programs offered by our 12 local area municipalities are second to none. That said, I know I speak for all of Niagara when I say we welcome any review that can lead to more efficient services for our residents. We have all been willing participants in the engagement process. We look forward to cooperating with the province as things move forward. There's always room for improvement, and the Niagara region welcomes the opportunity to do even a better job for our residents, businesses, and visitors. But while we wait for the results of this review, it is important for us to continue moving forward and to continue to make our region a desirable place to live, to work, and to invest in. Our region has a great economic story to tell. Right now, we have more than 13,000 businesses in Niagara with employees. and more than 27,000 self-employed residents. With the unemployment rate trending downward since 2015, we're making a full recovery from the recession-era level of 2009. Having attended many events across the region over the past several years, including ones held by the Niagara Industrial Association, I've been impressed by the way Niagara's businesses find new ways to leverage the great talent and products found right here at home. These encouraging numbers did not happen all on their own. Everyone in this room had an important role to play in helping Niagara recover from one of the worst economic downturns in recent history. And our efforts continue to show how working together as a team is critical. Our economic story is just beginning to be written, and we can all contribute to making it a good one. It is not just our job market that is improving. As many of you in this room well know, our region is seeing incredible investment in industrial, commercial, and residential development. Over the last 3 years, new building construction totaled almost $6 billion, that's with a B, $6 billion, representing an increase of an impressive 56%. Industrial and commercial building and development has been strong across the entire region. Investments in industrial construction climbed 186%, while commercial investment more than doubled. Residential construction continues to be robust as Niagara is discovered by more individuals looking to take advantage of our quality of life, unique location, and cost of living. Last year alone, Niagara saw over $1 billion invested in new residential construction. It's important to point out that as Niagara grows, we're taking steps to ensure that development maintains what makes Niagara very special. Local and regional planners work diligently in partnership with builders and developers to balance the demand for growth with the local culture, character, and style of our neighborhoods. We will continue to maintain this balance as Niagara reaches its provincial population targets. We will all need to work as a team to ensure that we're able to take advantage of this growth while not losing the unique characteristics and features that make our region such a special place. Hand in hand with our growth and development is a healthy amount of private investment. Over the last 2 years, new business investment amounted to almost $3 billion, which speaks to the progress made in opening Niagara up to new opportunities and promoting the area as the right place to do business. The good news continues when we look at what is happening with our local exporters. Exports have always been very important to regional economies because they bring new money into the economy that gets recirculated, supporting local businesses and jobs. In 2017, Niagara had over 600 companies exporting almost $4.5 billion in goods. When factoring in imports, Niagara is still a net exporter of more than $2 billion. Manufacturing remains a very important sector for Niagara, employing nearly 20,000 people in more than 1,000 companies. 90% of total exports from Niagara come from the manufacturing sector, funneling almost $4 billion into the regional economy. What this clearly shows is that Niagara is once again reestablishing itself as an attractive place to work and a prosperous place to invest. The story of our vibrant local economy continues as we look towards our agricultural sectors. While Ontario is full of beautiful places to live, Niagara certainly stands out. With our location nestled between Lakes Erie and Ontario, this region of Canada has some of Canada's most fertile agricultural land. The escarpment also provides a unique microclimate that allows us to produce 80% of the country's grapes and wine, as well as a wide range of other crops. Both local investments and contributions to agriculture go beyond the field. Numerous local institutions are contributing to breakthroughs in areas like precision agriculture and biomanufacturing. These efforts are led by a diverse collection of research institutes, including Niagara College Agriculture and Environment Innovation Center, Brock University Advanced Biomanufacturing Center, and Vineland Research and Innovation Center. Agriculture in Niagara supported nearly 20,000 jobs and provided a GDP impact of almost $1.5 billion in 2016, accounting for 8.7% of the total GDP in Niagara. Over the past few years, we have seen an exciting resurgence of culture and lifestyle events across the region that highlight some of the best things we have to offer. Niagara is home to many world-class festivals and events that make our communities a greater place in which to live. From the Grape and Wine Festival and the Folk Arts Festival in St. Catharines and surrounding area, and Canal Days in Port Colborne, to the Shaw Festival in Niagara-on-the-Lake, and the Marshville Heritage Festival in Wainfleet. There are outstanding events happening in all corners of our region. Our tourism industry continues to thrive. With natural features and a renewal of cultural and lifestyle events across the region, we see more than 13 million people visit Niagara every year. That's quite an astounding figure. These visits to experience our area's natural beauty, restaurants, entertainment, and recreation opportunities generate nearly $2.5 billion in revenue for the local economy. Niagara also plays host to an exciting assortment of sports and entertainment options. The Meridian Center, the Performing Arts Center, and the soon-to-be open Niagara Falls Entertainment Center provide the region with outstanding venues to welcome talent from across the world. While the Niagara Ice Dogs and Niagara River Lions provide solid sport entertainment for thousands, as do the many other teams from right across the region. And all of us enjoy those local entities that provide so much entertainment and fun for all of us. Between 2011 and 2018, tourism jobs grew by nearly 18%, solidifying this sector's place as a major economic contributor to this area. I think it is clear that Niagara is well positioned as we start this next 4-year term. We're excited about the years ahead. The task of our team is now to leverage even more opportunities to create an even better future. Starting tomorrow, Niagara Regional Council will formally take our first steps in the creation of our next strategic plan. This plan provides Niagara Region with direction regarding Council's priorities and goals. I'm looking forward to getting to work on this process with all of my colleagues in the Council chambers. As I look to the future of the Niagara Region, and I consider everything I have been hearing in the community, there are 6 key areas I would like to highlight here today. There's no doubt that Niagara benefits from our close proximity to the largest market in North America. Niagara's border facilitates $87 billion, or nearly 12% of all trade between Canada and the USA, making it a prime location for investment and job creation. The future is bright when we look at Niagara as a nationally significant international trade corridor. Niagara Region, along with its stakeholders, is working to improve the utilization of trade assets, such as the St. Lawrence Seaway with its Welland Canal, Niagara Foreign Trade Zone Point, Niagara's airports, and existing rail lines, to ensure that Niagara is well positioned, allowing companies to effectively get their goods to market. The progress being made in these efforts is another example of partnerships and teamwork that is required to ensure Niagara's success. With so many opportunities here, it is no wonder that Niagara is growing. Every year, more people call this region home, and over the next 2 decades, Niagara's population is expected to reach more than 600,000 residents. The region's projected population growth will drive new opportunities. Good planning is required to ensure that our communities are able to manage that projected growth in a way that sets us up for success. We are determined to enjoy the benefits of good growth while making sure that we do not lose out on our local character and the many natural, recreational, and agricultural features that have come to define our area. Niagara Region is currently in the process of creating a new Niagara official plan. This planning document lays out the region's approach to managing growth and the economy, protecting the natural environment, resources, and agricultural land, and providing infrastructure. This work is extensive and will define and shape our collective future. Although we're making incredible improvements to our region, we must also not forget those vulnerable members of our community. One of the most vital goals we as a region must strive to ensure is that every resident has a place that they're happy to call home. For example, Niagara, like most of Ontario, has seen an increase in those staying overnight in shelters, and more importantly, a difficulty in moving residents out of the shelter system. Further to this, the availability of rental properties has decreased significantly over the past several years, and the average market rent has increased across the board. Niagara Regional Housing has over 5,300 households waiting to be housed, and wait times come anywhere between 2 and 16 years, depending on the type of unit and location. We all need to work together by fostering our partnerships across the region and encouraging new housing developments that are affordable and support all of our residents. I was happy to recently join Niagara Centre MP Vance Badaway as it was announced that nearly $6 million would be invested in new builds for affordable housing in Welland. This project would provide homes for 50 families, but we still need to bring our housing stock much higher. Simply creating more housing stock is not the only solution. We need to look at the issue holistically and ensure we're working with individuals who are at risk of becoming homeless to make sure we keep them in their homes. This can be accomplished through a number of different approaches, not the least of which is ensuring we're linking residents to appropriate job and training opportunities to ensure they will be self-reliant. As a community, we need to ensure that everyone, yes, everyone, has a place to call home. We also want to ensure that our seniors have access to high-quality, long-term care beds and services. By investing in regions' long-term care homes, we can show our commitment to seniors' health and well-being in Niagara. With 408 beds required to be rebuilt by the end of 2024, the process is already underway to redevelop long-term care homes in St. Catharines and Fort Erie. These projects will take significant investment from the region, as well as the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care. Through the Ministry's Enhanced Redevelopment Program, the region will receive cost-shared funding to assist with this significant capital expenditure. The new long-term care homes will be situated on campuses that can have services designed to delay or avoid the transfer to long-term care facilities. This also allows us the opportunity to attract new business investment around these homes as we continue to grow the new facilities into wonderful new communities. For the past several years, the Niagara region and area municipalities have been making significant strides and investment in terms of improvements to our public transportation infrastructure. We know that providing our residents with a reliable and affordable way to travel within their communities and between neighboring municipalities is not only a critical component for the quality of life for those who live in Niagara, but also a major draw for businesses looking to locate in our area. To this end, I'm pleased to announce that the Regional Council has made the unprecedented investment of nearly $14 million in the 2019 budget to support the expansion of regional transit services across Niagara. In addition to purchasing 13 new buses, this investment will help ensure seamless connections, transfers between local transit partners and the region. This investment will also expand services to include earlier and later hours, Sunday service, and service into all 12 of Niagara's municipalities. That gives me a chance to take advantage of this. And no, it's not vodka. So this investment will enhance the customer service experience with the goal of attracting new ridership. The introduction of a single digital fare payment system will provide riders with the ease of access they become accustomed to in many other areas of their life, and the introduction of amenities like Wi-Fi on the buses and in shelters to modernize the system for more tech-savvy passengers. Ultimately, these investments are all designed to help move transit forward across Niagara and ensure effective connections to current and future GO train service. As we move forward in the coming term, we'll also need to pay close attention to the importance of our local infrastructure and the pressing need to properly renew, enhance, and expand our roadways and water treatment capabilities. Climate change has become an ever-present challenge to our infrastructure needs in the region, as changing climates that bring with them an increase of severe weather put greater strain on aging infrastructure that was not designed to handle those conditions. We will continue these investments in infrastructure through the delivery of $274 million in a capital program that invests $57 million in growth-related projects that support the continued accommodation of new residents and business to our community. Our recently approved capital budget also provides $164 million in needed investments to maintain and replace our critical aging infrastructure, remembering, ladies and gentlemen, that much of that infrastructure was built over 50 years ago. The unprecedented investment in our local infrastructure is an investment in our future that will ensure we deal with these infrastructure challenges now and not leave them to future generations. In my 41 years as a member of the provincial legislature, I had the pleasure to serve the Niagara community in a variety of different roles and ministries. During that time, I had the opportunity to see our wonderful community grow and develop. We now know that around 60% of what determines a person's health isn't driven by access to hospital or health care, and is actually connected to where they live. These drivers include a person's income, education, access to social networks and supports, childhood experiences, quality housing, and safe, walkable neighborhoods. As we have grown in Niagara, we've done an excellent job of maintaining these community attributes, which in part has made us such a desired destination for new residents each and every year. And while Niagara has had its share of challenges, we've always been able to work together to find new opportunities and new ways to move forward. I have always been impressed by the teamwork demonstrated by everyone in this room and the communities and industries we represent. In my first few months as regional chair, working with I must say, a wonderful new council of people very much committed to their communities, I've seen a continuation of this commitment to teamwork and partnerships. Every day I see countless examples of cooperation and collaboration with the goal of a better Niagara for everyone at its core. And I'm grateful for these efforts on your part. We should all believe that Niagara's future is bright and has no limits. I believe, as I'm confident that you believe, that we can rise to the occasion, successfully confront our challenges, and be equal to our opportunities in the years ahead. Thank you very much.
Niagara's future is bright. Thank you very much, Chair Bradley. It is my pleasure to welcome Aaron Tisdale, President of Girardi Machines and Chair of the Niagara Industrial Association, to the stage. The NIA is an industry-focused organization that provides a venue to advocate on behalf of local industry, address the issues that inhibit the advancement of local industry, and pursue business development opportunities in a collaborative manner in order to achieve positive results for local industry. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Aaron Distel.
Thank you, Mishka. And thank you to the GNCC for asking the Niagara Industrial Association to be a sponsor and a partner on this event. The NIA represents 250 manufacturers, industry and service industry, and we represent an economic force in the region. I'm very proud to sit as the chair of the NIA, and something I've learned extensively over the last couple of years in my involvement with the NIA is how important partnership is, and this is the thread of the conversation we've seen today. The NIA works very hard to connect our young people to the trades, and we're all very aware of how important not only the skilled trades are, but employees in general are to our businesses. As an owner of a company, it starts out understanding that it's important to have an employee and a good employee. As that begins to expand in my mind, I understand that my employees come from Welland, Port Colborne. I'm in St. Catharines, Thorold, Niagara-on-the-Lake, Grimsby. And the dollars that they make in my company, they bring home with them, and they spend in their communities, they spend in their municipalities. And their dollars may go to their sons or daughters in their jobs at an Avondale, at the movie theater, at the Tim Hortons. It's very important that we keep our young people here in the region. There are not going to be as many young people here in general. So we need to make a very big effort to keep these wonderful young people here in Niagara. I couldn't be prouder of those kids from Holy Cross. My mom was a teacher at Holy Cross, and I just love the spirit that these young people bring to any situation. But again, it was my pleasure when Mishka asked me to introduce the Niagara Workforce Planning Board, because I've had the opportunity to partner with them, and they bring a great understanding of our current workforce and our future workforce. Now, unfortunately, Mario Dodovitis wasn't able to make it today. He's suffering from something I'm sure everyone in our families is at home laying in bed over right now, unfortunately. So, but we do have the pleasure of having Adam Durant here. And I've heard Adam speak before, and he's very knowledgeable on what the Niagara Workforce Planning Board does for our community, for our businesses, and the understanding they bring to our future. So please welcome Adam Durant to the stage. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Adam Durant, and on behalf of the staff and the board of the Niagara Workforce Planning Board, I'd like to thank the Chamber for letting us have the opportunity to speak today. I'll just give a quick introduction of what NWPB does and how we work in the community. We're one of 26 local boards that are funded by the Ministry of Training, Colleges, and Universities, and our job is to provide the regions in which we work with fair, nonpartisan, and unbiased labor market data. We follow the data, we put it in the hands of the people who affect change, and we try to engage as many stakeholders as we can in that process. Our 2018 labor market report is live on our website, niagaraworkforce.ca, and our 2019 report is starting to get underway, and we'll be looking forward to doing consultations with any and every stakeholder in Niagara who wants to have a voice in how we shape that report. I'd also be remiss if I didn't mention our immigrant mentorship program. We work with about 70 internationally trained professionals every year to help them find a way to better integrate into Niagara's workforce. We're looking to help them build their business networks. We're looking to help them build their professional networks. We want them to understand how they can navigate the often difficult and sometimes murky waters of finding a job anywhere in Ontario, in Niagara, in Canada. We're working to empower those immigrants and to support them from start to finish in their job search process. We look towards leaders, just like the people who are in this room, to work with us to be mentors for those immigrants. So as a last word, I would encourage anyone who's interested in giving back to their community in that capacity to come find me after lunch, and I'd be more than happy to speak with you more about that program and what we're doing on that front. And on that note, I would like to thank everyone for their time, and that's it for me. Thank you.
And I think with that, lunch will be served. Enjoy. And right after lunch, we have a panel discussion in about 30 minutes from now. Thanks. start with the panel discussion in about 1 minute. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if I could ask you to join me in a round of applause to all the staff at this amazing Scotiabank Convention Center and this delicious meal. Thank you so very, very much. It is my pleasure to welcome Brian St. Hilaire, partner with Grant Thornton LLP. Grant Thornton is a leading Canadian accounting and business advisory firm providing audit, tax, and advisory services locally and across Canada to dynamic privately owned, publicly listed, and public sector organizations. Together with their Quebec firm, they have approximately 4,000 people in offices across the country. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Brian St. Hilaire.
The Niagara region is a one-of-a-kind place to live and work. There's really no place like it. Grant Thornton Business Advisors are proud to be part of this vibrant community. And, like you, we're committed to helping our region be the best it can be. That's why we take a personal interest in the success of each and every client. Here at Cosmic Plants, we're helping Neil and Mike's business to bloom. It's a winning blend of technology, creativity, and business know-how that helps this greenhouse operation grow. It's always an adventure at Safari Niagara, where Tim takes us behind the scenes. We do whatever it takes to understand our clients' day-to-day experience, and that includes feeding the giraffes. At Henry of Pelham, there's a unique connection to the land. These wine industry pioneers are leading the way in sustainable winemaking. Cheers to Paul and his devotion. The future of our region is something we can all have a hand in shaping. Let's connect innovate, and collaborate to keep building local businesses and this special place we call home.
Regional Chair Bradley, distinguished guests, colleagues, greetings. Thank you all for being here today. And thank you to my colleagues, Ron Kielstra, Kevin Steenstra, and Rick Nero for their participation in this video that we put together to showcase the hardworking businesses of the Niagara region, ones that we are lucky enough to call our clients. As you saw in the video, we are Grant Thornton, and we get the Niagara region. At Grant Thornton, our mission statement is to help businesses grow and thrive in the communities in which we live, work, and play. We believe that if we can help our clients, colleagues, and communities thrive, we in turn open opportunities for everyone involved. That is why McGillivray Partners and EPR Kielstra, two firms with a long and distinguished history of service to businesses and communities across Niagara, adopted the Grant Thornton brand. Very simply put, we share the same values. Grant Thornton specializes in advising privately held local businesses, and we want to see these businesses thrive every day. From Lincoln to Port Colborne to Fort Erie, and from the more than 70 community offices across Canada, we bring a vast wealth of knowledge and expertise to the clients that we serve. And so we are privileged to work alongside with the Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce. Mishka and her team do an outstanding job bringing our business community together. We are excited and optimistic about the future of the Niagara region. The potential and opportunities across this vast and diverse region are truly endless. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce a celebrity who will moderate today's panel discussion. A celebrity who has been waking Niagara up for more than 23 years. Tim Dennis has over 4 decades in the entertainment field as a talk show host, singer, actor, director, and songwriter. Tim is the longest-serving morning man in Niagara, recently celebrating 40 years in radio. He began his radio career in Simcoe, Ontario, at CHNR, and moved on to stints in Kitchener, Welland, QRFM, and CHSC in St. Catharines, Nashville, Tennessee, TN, and WAIR, Traverse City, Michigan, before returning to his home here in Niagara. He has also been a frequent TV guest on CHTV's Live at 5:30, and as a guest host for the Michael Corrin Show on CTS. As a director, he has been at the helm of over 100 shows across Canada. He is also a founding producer and director with the Lakeside Players right here in St. Catharines. As a recording artist, his 1985 album, Tim Dennis, featured Shania Twain and is still playing on radio across Canada. He can be heard daily as the host of the morning show on 610 CKTB radio. Let's give a warm welcome to Niagara's own Tim Dennis.
I couldn't have said it any better.
That's just the way I wrote it.
At this time, it's my pleasure to ask Anna Murray, Executive Director with the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce, an organization dedicated to growing and sustaining prosperity of Lincoln, to come to the stage. They are a leading enabler of business success in Lincoln and a driving force in the advancement of the local and regional economy. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Anna Murray.
It is my privilege this afternoon to welcome our panelists. We have 5 of them. The first one is Ali Hughes from Hughes & Company, Inc. Ali's leadership has taken H&C Inc. to market significance since its founding in 2012. Her industry reputation has led to her sharing thought leadership through speaking engagements across North America, including Inbound, the largest digital marketing conference in the world. With a client base that ranges from small business to Fortune 500 companies, she has assembled a dynamic team positioned to win. Ali has been recognized as a Niagara Entrepreneur of the Year, Women in Business's Emerging Entrepreneur, Niagara Top 40 Under 40, and Brock University's Most Outstanding Young Alumni in 2017. Her give-back efforts are focused on a scholarship program with her alma mater, Brock University, and her board of director roles with the YMCA of Niagara and the Brock University Alumni Association. Absolutely. Next, we have the President and Vice Chancellor of Brock University, Gervon Ferron. Gervon Ferron became Brock University's President and Vice Chancellor in 2017. Before joining Brock, he served at Brandon University as President and Vice Chancellor, and also as Provost and Vice President Academic. Ferron also served as the Dean of the G. Raymond Chang School of Continuing Education at Ryerson University, as Associate Dean at York University's Atkinson Faculty of Liberal and Professional Studies, and as a visiting scholar at the University of Washington, and as an Associate Professor at York University. He received his PhD in economics from the University of Western Ontario and his master's and bachelor's in agricultural economics at the University of Guelph. He also holds a chartered professional accountant designation and an ICDD designation. Our third panelist is Lori Beach from Bethlehem Housing. With a general degree majoring in business admin and post-diploma certification in nonprofit and association executive management, Lori has over 25 years experience in director and management roles in the not-for-profit sector, government agencies, provincial and national associations. She has worked in social service sectors such as workforce development, education and training, youth employment, immigration and newcomer settlement services, mental health, poverty reduction, food security, homelessness prevention, and community housing. For the past 5.5 years, she has held the position of Executive Director at Bethlehem Housing and Support Services, one of the largest nonprofit housing organizations in the Niagara region. Next, we have Dan Patterson of Niagara College. Dan Patterson, PhD, has been Niagara College's president since 1995. Under his leadership, the college has doubled its enrollment to over 11,000 full-time students in over 130 programs with an operating budget of over $200 million. Dr. Patterson is a passionate advocate for the role that colleges play in their communities. He's overseen the creation of Canada's first teaching winery, teaching brewery, and artisan distillery. Dr. Patterson also helped launch the commercial cannabis production program, the first production program at the post-secondary level in Canada. Dr. Patterson received his BA from the University of Windsor, his Master's of Science from the London School of Economics, his Master's of Education and PhD from the University of Toronto. Our fifth panelist is Mike Watt, Executive Vice President of Walker Environmental Group. Mike Watt is a professional engineer, longtime resident of St. Catharines, and the Executive VP of Walker Environmental Group, a subsidiary of Walker Industries. Mike specializes in change management, growth, and mergers and acquisitions in his current role. Mike is currently Vice Chair of the YMCA Niagara Board of Directors and chairs the Renewal Committee. He is on the board of Ontario Waste Management Association, where he served as chair for 2 terms. On a corporate basis, he is on the board of advisors of Abatement Technologies in Fort Erie and the Thompson Gordon Group in Burlington. He was the founding chair of the GNCC. Welcome to our panelists.
Given the length of the introductions, we are out of time for this afternoon. We want to welcome everybody this afternoon. It is absolutely wonderful to see the breadth, the width of and the depth of the people who are here today, because Allie and I were talking over lunch about how this is a wonderful bringing together of political people, nonprofits, profit organizations, organizations that wish they were profitable. We have everybody here today to discuss, and we have a really wide range along the panel here today as well. So I want to thank everybody for taking some time. It's funny because people were a little nervous about this afternoon, and I said, don't worry, usually at this kind of thing after lunch, everybody leaves. I was wrong. They're all still here, so we have lots to talk about. We want to thank the chair for a wonderful speech today, and that's tough to get through when you have no voice. Jim, thank you for that. Well done today. No limits is a great motto. It's a great thing to look forward to in the Niagara region. We toyed with other ideas to call this afternoon's presentation. We toyed with open for business. We toyed with yours to discover. Both of them were trademarked, unfortunately. So let's begin our discussions this afternoon. Looking ahead to the next 4 years. I talked with Mr. Bradley this morning about the elephant in the room, the fact that there is a governance review going on right now. We're talking about that. Whether this is the last get-together of this type we have, we don't know. We don't know what's coming, but we know what we want to happen. Let's hear from everybody. Allie, small business, digital marketing, an organization that is based here in the Niagara region. Why?
I work in the information economy, so myself and my colleagues and fellow business owners in the marketing space all benefit from being part of a burgeoning digital industry. My clients are literally all over the world, and they don't care where we're from. So my choice to base my business here in Niagara is really founded in personal reasons. I love the lifestyle here. I like the opportunity that being close to the United States and, of course, large markets in Canada affords me, and that really is the foundation of what makes this my home base.
Mike, a company like Walker that works all across the country, but is in all kinds of things, whether it be construction, whether it be environmental industries, et cetera, et cetera. You and I have talked about this in the past. You have the opportunity to be anywhere in this country, yet you're here in Niagara. Why?
Well, I mean, obviously there's a very long history in Niagara in terms of Walker Industries. So, I mean, we're here because the company was founded here, and our head office is going to continue to be here. But quite frankly, we've grown up here, we understand the economy, we understand the communities we work in, and we want to be here for the longer term. So we see Niagara as an opportunity to grow the company. Obviously, we have grown outside of Niagara a great deal in the last 10 years, but there's still opportunities, we think, to see growth in Niagara with our companies that we have here right now.
Opportunities is a really interesting word because we have opportunities going forward into the next few years here in Niagara. Laurie, one of the big issues, and the chair brought it up during his speech, housing. Housing is an issue which is going to affect everybody across this region. Doesn't matter whether they're in Fort Erie, whether they're in Grimsby, it's going to happen. How do we move forward in Niagara in an issue like housing all together? Because you at Bethlehem deal with Niagara as a whole. Talk to me about moving forward into the next few years. What are your challenges?
Okay, housing is an issue for everyone. It's not just for the vulnerable of our society. We are dealing with, as many other communities in the province and across the country, low vacancy rates, property values going up, and so that's going to continue in the foreseeable future, the near future, and so that's constantly going to have an impact on housing. We are experiencing a housing crisis. And so going forward, our challenge is just that we have to find ways within the current regional government that is two-tiered to be able to add to the stock of housing. But as was mentioned earlier, just adding to the stock and just housing is only part of the solution. And housing and homelessness, housing It's a multifaceted, multi-layered issue, and it requires a multi-layered and multifaceted strategy, action, and a wide variety of collaboration. And so, you know, those are our challenges going forward. Actually, the challenges are much more than that, but that's it in a nutshell.
Let me ask you all this. Niagara is geographically a huge area. We have areas that have nothing in common, well, not nothing, but very little in common with other areas in Niagara. It's tough to govern. Is Niagara too big to govern as a single entity? Gervin, I want you to get in on this because, of course, Brock University deals with Niagara and Ontario as a whole. Moving forward, is it too big to deal with, or are we getting a hold of it on days like today?
Well, maybe two parts to answer the question. The first one is that at Brock University, we've had a wonderful relationship working with all the councils and across the region. So as a context, I find that the region works actually really well together. And the kind of partnerships, the kind of mobility that we see across the region, I would say it's really one Niagara. Someone can, for example, go to the theater in St. Catharines, go to Niagara-on-the-Lake for dinner, go to Welland to walk along the canal, and then go to Grimsby for coffee. So in that sense, I think that we live across the entire region. So in that respect, we're governing the same set of people. The next part of it, though, there's an opportunity to be able to set some benchmarks in terms of efficiencies, in terms of outcomes that we're trying to get at. I think the statements that were made in terms of transportation, the region being able to come together and work on some really innovative transportation solutions shows that together we're working with some really effectiveness to get solutions to be able to both foster business opportunities as well as meet the needs of citizens. So clearly there are different models, and I understand that there's a review that will look at different models, but I think if we keep in mind the markers in terms of outcomes, then whichever model we apply will get the benefits both for business as well as for citizens across the region.
Dan, you want to jump in on that? Because Niagara deals with it in the same way. I know you're dealing with the same throat issues that a lot of us are, so I've offered to give all of your time to Gervin if you want.
That's good. That's cool. That's okay. Well, you know, I think governance, whatever it turns out to be, I think the people in this room are really committed to the Niagara community. And from my point of view, I think one of the most important opportunities we have here in Niagara is to capitalize on the people talent. And really, if we want a strong region that maintains the quality of life, keeps young people here, people continue to invest, I think we need to create a culture of innovation that's second to none. I think we have all the elements here in Niagara, whether we're governed one way or the other, but it's a hyper-competitive environment in there, out there, and we have to embrace technology. I think we have all the elements to make a difference, and so I think, you know, that's where I would place my money, investing in people, creating wealth, zeroing in on areas like agri-food tech, advanced manufacturing, hospitality and tourism, and working as a team. And as the video says, there's no limits of working together.
We have a conundrum in Niagara. We are one of the older communities in Canada, demographically. But in order to survive, in order to flourish, we have to attract young people and keep young people. It's come up in almost every answer that we've had today. Ali, how do we keep young people here? How do we attract young people to the Niagara region as a small business owner?
Yeah, so I will say that our recruitment, we've been around for 7 years, and our recruitment strategy in the last 2 years has changed quite significantly. We've started bringing people back to Niagara, so we see a lot of really talented folks leave us. Certainly, I'm Brock University alumni. Many of my colleagues and peers, yes, many of my colleagues and peers migrated up to Toronto to start their careers, but as they've come into their 30s, they're starting families and they're looking for a place to really settle and land, and I think Niagara offers a really compelling quality of life in that way. I will also say that we're an organization of 23 staff, and 4 of our staff commute to us from Hamilton. So this idea that we're competing against these cities to keep our compelling talent, we're also attracting their best talent to come down and work with us. So I think continuing in that vein of really shining a light on the companies doing innovative, exciting, and world-class work is one of the ways we can achieve that goal.
Mike, does it come up when you're talking at work at Walker about how to attract young employees, how to keep young employees in the Niagara region?
Yeah, I mean, Tim, you and I talked about this a couple of times before. I think the whole problem here is we struggle, Ali, perhaps not, because you're grabbing new grads straight out of school for high-tech stuff. I think we struggle, particularly in technical disciplines, to get people to come from other areas. If we advertise for an engineer, we get 1 applicant. If we advertise for an admin assistant, we get 300. So I think there's a skills mismatch there that we're struggling with. And I think also, and Dan and I have talked about this, if you can get somebody down here, and we're doing better at that, but when you get them down here, you have to find a job for their spouse or their partner. And that's a bigger challenge, actually, than getting them down here. So it's a great community. It's got great quality of life. Once we get people down here to experience that, they know they want to live here. But finding jobs for the partners is a big challenge.
Dan, I know you wanted to get in on that.
Well, yes, this is a very important subject, and I do think that working together we can solve a lot of it. I think Chuck McShane in the construction industry and Aaron in the Niagara Industrial Association, you know, they'll say it's not just a skills shortage. I think in some areas it's a skills crisis, and we need to be more responsive. We need to find creative ways. You know, people without jobs, jobs without people. How do we match that? And I think having post-secondary institutions, college and university here, we can do more. Because I think the top jobs, the greatest investment will go to the regions that have strong educational infrastructure that's responsive to the industry needs. And I know we need to do more, and I think we can do more.
Gervin?
Yeah, following up on Dan's comment, working together, for example, with the council and being able to take a look at possibilities as workplace needs, talent development needs, and I know that we're working with GNCC to be able to look at that and those kinds of opportunities, to be making sure that we're providing the right training, that we've got the right programs, engineering, for example, at the university, along with the college, making sure that we're adding to the talent pool. And we know that the talent pool will not only impact competitiveness of the businesses that are here, it'll also be really important in attracting new capital investment, for example. So I think working together, we can actually hone our skills to be able to get those results.
Lori?
Yes, I'd like to comment on the impact of all those things that you've all just spoken about on housing. Because for young people, they are not able, perhaps many of you are young adults that are still living at home with you, are not able to afford to own a home. So they're renting. And so that's contributing to the housing crisis. And so if we want to retain young people, we also have to not only have jobs and good education programs and other opportunities, but opportunities for them to, as Ali said, grow their families and have families, and that means home ownership. But if they are living in our rental stock, then again, the impact being on more vulnerable people or lower income people, because that's where our student graduates are living, they're renting and not owning homes, as many of us in our generation were able to do once we
How do we address that? Does the government address that? Does private industry address that? Because it's to everybody's benefit. But for a lot of people, we automatically look to government. Well, you've got to put money into that. Is it also up to private industry to do it? Am I wrong? Mike, you're into this.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a double-edged sword here. All the baby boomers in the room, including me, are all rubbing our hands about the increase of real estate value in Niagara in the last 5 years. And some of us are helping our kids get on that rung. The problem with that is housing prices have gone up so much here in Niagara. One of the attractions we had here before was getting people here was the affordability of housing if you wanted to buy or rent. That's sort of slowly disappearing. I think we only don't need to look any further than Hamilton to see what's happened there. So I'm really deeply concerned about affordability for our kids and their kids, and trying to keep young people here in Niagara.
Gervin?
Yeah, recently we've done some analysis at the university, for example, asking the question, what impact are our students having on housing stock? And our conclusion has been that we need to actually build more stock for our students to be able to take pressure off the affordability within the region. So I think that there are decisions that we can also make that are strategic that can also benefit housing stock for the region as well.
Dan, anything on that before we move on?
Well, I just think it is such a fundamental issue that we all have to put our heads together to figure it out. We've had a surge in international recruitment, and it's very exciting. It's created very diverse campuses. Employers are saying they're really appreciative of the additional labor force that we've developed, but housing continues to be a major challenge, and like my other colleagues have mentioned.
Chair Bradley mentioned transportation as being one of the things that over the past few years that has been a success story, that everybody in Niagara was on board bringing GO to the area. Regional transit's still an issue. How big an issue to you, to your business, is the ability for people in Niagara to get around, to get from place to place? Sally?
It's actually a pretty significant issue for my staff team. We usually have 3 to 4 brand new graduates join our team on an annual basis, coming from usually Brock University or a Niagara College postgrad program. This year, 3 of those staff do not have vehicles, so they do rely on public transportation to come to work. So the reliability of that transportation is critical for them to be successful in their roles with us, certainly.
I mean, you have a lot of employees. How big a deal is it?
I guess the first question we ask in an interview is, do you own a car? And you know, that's not relevant in Toronto anymore, but certainly in Niagara, if you don't own a car, you can't get to our office. Actually, the closest bus stop to our office is Dan's campus on Glendale. So I think in the longer term, like I challenge out there to the politicians that run transit systems in Niagara, what's taken us so long to amalgamate these transit systems? And having real transit for real people to get from places they live to places they can work. I think this is going to be a big issue going down the road.
Dan, the man who owns the, yeah.
Yes.
Let's hear from the man who owns that bus stop down the road from you.
Yes, well, actually we have 14 visits by GO Bus every day. And actually the Niagara-on-the-Lake campus has been a hub for all regional transit, Welland, St. Catharines, Niagara-on-the-Lake. And it is important. I think we need champions. Matt Robinson from the region is a great example who understands the different cultures and organizations, tries to mobilize it. I think there's a lot of people on the file, but we still have to push it. I know our leadership at the student level have contributed over $4 million in this past year towards creating a more integrated system. So it's a team effort, very much so.
Gervin, did you have anything on
that? Sure. We've got 19,000 students, about 25,000 individuals associated with the university at any given time. That means that transportation is really important to those individuals in getting to the university, and that means it's also important to retaining students. But I would also say that the ability of the university to compete at a regional level, so across Southern Ontario, also means that we need to be able to have students and employees be able to reach the university, and as a result then our economic footprint is about $640 million. Being able to grow that and its spill-off effect across the region will be highly dependent on transportation. We're working with the region on it, and I think we're making good progress, but again, that's an opportunity I think for the region.
Lori, anything?
For sure. Again, transportation does in its own way have an impact on housing, particularly in a region like ours. We rely on the transit to be well connected to get people to their jobs and to their homes and back and forth. And for example, in Niagara Falls, well, throughout the region, we have a lot of tourism type of organizations and businesses, and they are you know, at the lower income range, and so if they're having issues in Niagara Falls where we have a 0 vacancy rate, that means they have to rely on transit to get to where they live in one of the other municipalities. So again, if that's a challenge, then we have, unfortunately, people living in motels and in other precarious housing situations that are not good. So transit definitely has an impact on housing as well.
I want to ask all of you, because you represent such a wide spectrum of the region, from nonprofits to profits to post-secondary education, 2 questions, and I'd like each one of you to answer the same. To you, what is the biggest advantage to being in Niagara? But 2, what is the biggest challenge that you face the way things are right now? Because you have the ear of the people who can make change today. What is the biggest advantage, but what is the biggest challenge for you? You're smiling, Allie.
I'm like, he's going to pick me first.
Allie, you're up first.
That's great. It's lots of time to think. So I think the biggest advantage for me in being in Niagara, I mean, I'm from here. I love it here. I love what it's done for my ability to grow my business. I do feel like a very supported business person. And I also feel that I have strong inroads in the post-secondary institutions that we have here in Niagara. And it's that collaborative nature of our region that I think makes us incredibly strong. So for me, that would be the greatest advantage as a business owner, and what I would encourage other young entrepreneurs to avail of. These organizations are here to support you, and they want to. And when I've sought those relationships, they've been handed to me with pleasure. We've always been welcomed with open arms. In terms of my biggest challenge, Tim.
Here he comes.
Yeah. I would say that one of the challenges that we face is, from a funding perspective at the federal and provincial levels, Niagara is very low on the totem pole in terms of us getting access to government support and programs in my industry specifically. I would suggest that probably that's felt even more significantly by organizations like mine that can avail of the Women in STEM support programs. So I see my colleagues in other markets. In Toronto, I was just in Halton speaking with their economic development teams last week, and their entrepreneurs in these burgeoning industries are so incredibly supported with educational programming and funding, and I think that we could do a much better job of lifting up the young people that are really working hard to make an impact here.
Gervin Fearon.
Okay, biggest opportunity first. I think that the numbers that were stated before, they're just over 12,000 businesses in the region, and in terms of having employees over a single employee and the likes. That means that the region is actually small enough to be able to have a strategic direction to increase the talent pool, to increase productivity and competitiveness, to have a result. And we can coordinate. I think everybody in this room, collectively, we can actually set some of those goals and coordinate some of those results. And that's an incredible advantage that the region has. And I think at times it goes underestimated, including its location, proximity to market and the likes. I think the last one, though, in terms of the major challenge, is collectively being able to set some of those goals in terms of outcome and making sure that we're all aligned on that goal. The idea of no limit, I think that starts getting at that, and being able to kind of say what's exactly our value proposition as a region and how we're going to market and communicate that and stand behind it and all get behind it.
So that teamwork aspect is what we need.
But I think we've got a good teamwork, but let's set that goal as to what is it that we're going to try to achieve over the next 4 to 5 years together.
Laurie Beach.
Thanks, Tim. As far as advantages in homelessness, we have been working on a plan. We have a 10-year plan. We're halfway through. I have been involved from the very beginning and perhaps even before that. And I have seen our collaborative effort grow, which is a massive advantage. Again, as I said before, there is no one program, there is no one person, there is no one action that can solve the homelessness issue. And homelessness is not just unfortunate, vulnerable people that are living on the streets, as was mentioned before. There are hidden homeless, there are couch surfers, there's a lot of people living in very precarious housing. We have 14% of our population living in core housing need. That's precarious housing, and people paying more than 30%, some are paying 50% of their income on housing. That's a very high risk. But again, we have a plan that is evolving, and so we have really done a really good job as a service system to bring a lot more folks together, to work together on that plan. So the plan is evolving. It still has a lot of gaps in terms of collaboration. We're very good at that. We've gotten better at that, but we need more cross-collaboration, so cross-sector collaboration. So including, we can't talk about improving and ending homelessness without children's services at the table, without health, without mental health. And I'm not talking about the big shiny hospital. I'm talking about health services and mental health services in the community where it's needed. And so those are all, those are
So bringing all of those
all
people
of
together
those, yes.
is the challenge.
And if I may add also then, the other challenge that we're having when it comes to the housing side and developing housing, we at Bethlehem, we've had a wonderful opportunity with a private sector developer who has come to the table and committed a gift of millions of dollars, and we have received support from our municipal governments, but also our regional government on that, not with capital funding, but with supports in terms of furthering the affordability. By relieving development charges and tax exemptions and things like that. Those are the things we need. So we need to build those types of opportunities into our public policy, our municipal policy, our regional policy. We have to have a strategy a housing strategy that builds the framework for when private sector comes to the table, that we have all the tools in our toolbox, municipally and regionally, to support a true affordable housing project.
Dan Patterson, same question.
Again, I think our most, absolutely. I think our big advantage is our people and creating that innovation agenda that I spoke about. I think that is really critical. I think regions, again, will be defined by the ingenuity and the creativity of individuals and organizations. It's very competitive out there. And so, but I think, you know, the wine industry is a great example of success and the resilience of Niagara and the people in this room and the leadership. The challenge, I think, is making sure that we create that environment that at the end of the day, all of the leaders here need to inspire young people, young entrepreneurs, really young innovators, and make sure that we have the climate for them to grow and be successful.
Mike, we're out of time. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I mean, I would say without a doubt the biggest thing that we have going for us right now is really the quality of life here. An MD that I travel a lot, and if you picked up En Route magazine a couple of months back, in the back of the seat pocket, and you opened it up and you saw #1 new restaurant in Canada is Pearl Morissette in Vineland. So, I mean, we have the quality of life here for the few. I think the biggest challenge, and a lot of business owners are going to say, why didn't you bring this up or that up? Personally, the two-tier planning system here in Niagara does not work. It's dysfunctional. And we're being the direct, I guess, at times, a victim of that. So I think, regardless of what you think about governance going forward, I think if you look down the road in Hamilton, Harris obviously pushed that whole project through with the reorganization there. But you look at Hamilton today, it has all the indicators of success. So I'm not advocating single tier. I just think we need to do a better job at what we're not doing right now. And planning sort of sticks out to me from a developer's point of view, large company's point of view. Halton two-tier works. Niagara, not so much. And I think we really need to do a better job there, regardless of what the outcome of the provincial review is.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard a lot of differing opinions, some ideas moving forward, but I think we get the general impression that In order to move forward, we've got to move together, whether that is one model or another. I'd like you to say thank you to our panelists for being here today and your thoughts. And thank you for listening. Mishka, it's all yours.
And thank you, Tim, for moderating this really interesting discussion. On behalf of all of our partner organizations today, we would like to thank you, Chair Bradley, the panel here for being here. There is, over to my left, there's a little gift there that the region has prepared for each one of you for being part of the panel and putting your thoughts forward. We really appreciate it. Thank you. And as I'm closing today's event, I would like to actually show you a short, brief video from Penn Financial highlighting the Truly Local Commitment Pledge, featuring their employees, members, and community partners committed to improving lives and strengthening communities across Niagara. Ladies and gentlemen, 1 minute.
Penn Financial is making a truly local commitment by asking all of our new members to join us in a pledge to improve lives and strengthen communities. It goes a little something like this. We try harder. We have heart.
And we know you do too.
We choose change.
It takes courage to be different.
Driven by purpose.
Having fun and feeling good about our choices.
We believe the prosperity of our members and our community go hand in hand.
Together, we get what we give.
We are truly local, remaining inclusive and accountable with integrity and respect.
Improving lives.
Strengthening communities.
This is our commitment to each other.
Because where you put your money matters, Niagara. Nice work, friends. I got goosebumps there.
When I look around this room, I know that all of us are committed. We're committed to our communities. We're committed to this region. And as Chair Bradley said, I think our future is bright. And looking at all of you, I feel the same. So thank you for being here. Thank you for coming together. And let's keep the conversation going.